It's good to have your company. Look, there's a whole range of suggestions about hoarding. One of our listeners at Glenmore Park out near Penrith says, why can't the big supermarkets just close their stores and allow for online shopping? You can put your shopping limits online and then you know exactly what people are getting. Look, I don't know whether there's any merit in that, Kirsty, but I'm not prepared to say it's a silly idea because we just don't seem to be in any way, shape or form dealing with it. The Prime Minister said, don't panic, stop hoarding. It's un-Australian. And then again, here it is happening this morning, as it's been happening over the past month. 131873 is the open line number, 2gb.com, 4bc.com.au if you'd like to join us. Every Thursday we try to speak to the Home Affairs Minister and member for Dixon, Peter Dutton. We spoke earlier this week following his positive test to coronavirus, but we're back today for our regular chat. Minister, good morning.
Good morning, Ray.
You sound a bit crooker.
No, I'm good actually. I feel really well. So hopefully a clearance by the end of the week. They do 2 tests, and if they're both negative within or separated by 24 hours, then you can get the clearance and be back into it. So looking forward to that very much.
Have you, since we spoke on Tuesday, you talked about the symptoms and the like. Have you basically just been the same and got a little bit better day by day?
Yeah, look, I think it's a really important message because 80% of people will end up with just a mild case of 80% of the cases of coronavirus, people will end up with a mild case. And I've had nothing more than Panadol. I haven't had a fever since I left hospital, and you know it's a heavy flu, and I think that's going to be the experience of people that the vast majority of people that catch it. So that's the important message, and you know I feel well. We've been working around the clock just trying to deal with issues like supermarkets, as you say, and we've been on the hookup calls with the CEOs of the major supermarkets and the distributors, the people involved in logistics, etc., every day, and we're trying to deal with this issue and make sure that common sense is restored because some of the rational behaviour at the moment, as the Prime Minister's pointed out, is unacceptable, and people who are assaulting somebody or involved in some of the footage that we've seen, those sort of ruckuses taking place, are going to be dealt with by the police, and there's certainly a bigger police effort now across a number of sites where they do have concern, and we've been dealing with, I spoke to Mick Fuller last night again, and we'll deal with people that conduct themselves in that way. But as the Prime Minister's pointed out, we produce more food in this country than we can ever consume. Toilet paper is manufactured 24/7 here, and the behaviour at the moment by some people, which is sadly being followed by others, is unacceptable. And you force us into a position then where you need to ration the purchasing arrangements or ration the store hours, which I don't want to do because I think it sends a bad message, but we need to get under control the actions of some people at the moment that remain completely unacceptable.
I thought the Prime Minister was at his best yesterday in a crisis, and it was a very powerful performance that we took live on the program. And about this hoarding of groceries. Now, I would have thought that maybe once people had seen it on the news last night, they didn't hear it live because they were busy hoarding groceries, the message would have got on. But I've just had messages from my local shopkeepers at my little shopping centre. It's not a Westfield, it's just a sort of semi-rural shopping centre with a Coles and an Aldi, and they're queued up for 150 metres there, and there are people that the local shopkeepers have never seen before, and it's a community shopping centre. They know just about everyone that goes there regularly, and the message has not got through. So I don't want to punish people, but what's the answer, Minister? You mentioned rationing. It's not decreasing. It's a bit like the coronavirus. The stupidity of some people increases by every day. And I've got pictures coming to me now from that shopping centre. I mean, they're 4 and 5 deep, and I can give them a guarantee once they get inside the store, there's nothing there anyway. They might get a couple of tubes of toothpaste, but there's not much else left there because the hoarding went on yesterday, it went on the day before, the week before, and the week before. So can the government actually, in conjunction with Woolies, Coles and Aldi, simply say, well, I'm sorry, but the line on the sand is here and it's been crossed too many times, we've got to take some action. I don't know what action it is, but something has to give.
Well, we're working through it at the moment. Full credit to Aldi and to Coles, Woolies, IGAs, because they really are coming to the table, doing the best they can. We've now dealt with curfew issues. I think we're down to 3 council areas where they have been stopping the trucks from coming after hours, and we are dealing with those councils now because we want 24/7 deliveries. So there's no problem in the supply chain. There's no problem with the stocks being held at the distribution centres. There's no problems with the manufacturers and their supply chains right through to the shelves. But there is a problem with demand, and we're going to increase. We're working with, in particular, Coles and Woolies at the moment to dramatically increase the numbers of home deliveries. And I want to do that for elderly Australians. I do want us to try and encourage people over the age of 70 not to be out at shopping centres and out at doctor's surgeries unless it's absolutely necessary. I do want to try and encourage those people to stay home, and if we can provide assistance to them through grocery deliveries, etc., then that's what we're in the process of doing. So I just say to these people, you're making it harder for people who are most vulnerable, people who are on a pension, people who are self-funded retirees, people who may not be buying more than just a couple of days' food because they can't afford to do anything more than that, and they're going to the shops more regularly. You're making life harder for those people, and I need you to stop it. And there is not going to be a shortage. So we will work with the companies to see what we can put in place. We do have, I think, some people that are profiteering. So that is, they're hoarding not for their own consumption. I think they're either sending some of the product overseas or they're selling it in a black market arrangement in Australia. I'm going to come after those people, and I'll give them a fair warning now. It won't be a pretty experience when we deal with them, because the Australian Federal Police, the Australian Border Force, New South Wales Police, Victorian Police and elsewhere are onto this at the moment, and this is part of our demand problem. So we will deal with those. We're not seeing this happen in New Zealand, for example, and Australians should be stepping up. And the majority of people have the same values that we do, Ray, but at the moment there are too many people who are following bad pattern behaviour of those. Some of these people that started hoarding in the first place are not doing it for their own consumption. Make that point. So they're the ones that we're coming after. And if people are profiteering out of a national crisis, then they are going to be dealt with. And I've been very clear in my instruction to the agency heads, the commissioners within my portfolio, that this is a priority to deal with, and we are going to deal with it. And they're in the process of doing that right now. So there are a number of elements coming at this from, but we will resolve it and we will restore proper order, because people have an abundance of food options, both fresh food, canned food, dry foods. All the consumables will continue to be in heavy supply right through whatever happens over the course of the coming months in our country. And people need to heed that message today. Please show an example to your neighbour, to the person that you're shopping beside at the shopping centre, but be sensible about your purchases, and that way we can restore normality. But we will restore it, and we're working through it at the moment.
You're talking very strongly about these coachloads of people going to regional areas. Now, I first heard about it late last week and early this week, and I wasn't dismissive, but a bit sceptical, because sometimes people, tend to hear something and pass it on, and it becomes 2 or 3-fold. Then yesterday I got photographic evidence, and I got calls from Lithgow, Mudgee, Bathurst, Orange. The stories in Victoria, rural Victoria, being well documented. But what struck me, Minister, is this is highly organised. This is a busload of Asian Australians, I presume, with a trailer on the back that you normally carry luggage in, just going to these shopping centres and these shops, Aldi, Coles and Woolies, and clearing the joint out. Now, I'm at a loss. Do they sell it at local market stalls at inflated prices, or do they bring it back, put it in a container and send it elsewhere? Do you know where it's going, all the groceries are going and all the other items are going?
Yes, I do, but the obviously investigations and an operation that's underway at the moment. So I'm not going to go into more detail than what I've gone into already, Ray. But
okay, is it highly organised, as we're suggesting? Is there some sort of criminal element here?
Yeah, I believe that there is, and we're working through that at the moment. So, and we will come down like a ton of bricks on those individuals, because I think they're the ones that have created this pattern of behaviour of hoarding and clearing out shelves, etc. And I think, frankly, normally sensible people have been wrapped up in this because they've panicked when they've seen the shelves empty, and they've panicked when they've seen people hoarding, but they should know that they're following the behaviour of people that aren't purchasing for themselves of their own consumption. They're doing it for profit, and they're doing it for reasons that are unacceptable. So we'll go through all that. But what I would say, Ray, to your entire listener base, please, we need the audience to swing into action here. If you have photos, or if you have registration numbers, if you have instances, not what you've heard across the fence, or rumours that you've read online or social media. If you've got a first-hand experience, if you're a shop owner, a store owner, you've got photos, you have intelligence or information, I want you to call Crime Stoppers and provide that information, because we are working on it right now, and it is going to be part of our government response to getting this back under control, because we have an abundance of supply and people just need to calm down. And we will deal with those people who are doing the wrong thing.
Okay, we've got a large rural audience across the country. If you are at the moment in a rural centre, in the last 24 hours, if you personally witness what the Minister's talking about, you contact us. We'll put you in contact with the authorities. We'll leave it there. Thanks for your time, as always.
Thanks, Ray. Take care, mate.
Peter Dutton, Home Affairs Minister, talking to us while he's still, of course, in quarantine. So I can't stress this enough. We now know that there's a police operation, AFP, Border Control, New South Wales, Victorian Police particularly, and this is organised. And it's been organised for quite some time. And they're using people, and I believe that they're connected to crime syndicates. They're using people to clear out these supermarkets, and they're then either exporting those products or selling them in Australia at a large profit. They're profiteering from the coronavirus. It sounds like Peter Dutton's onto them, and the rural listeners, if you have any information, Crime Stoppers, 1800 333 000, 1800 333 000, and it's like the Minister said, not if only Gladys told you over the back fence that she saw something and someone told her that. We need to hear from people who actually saw the buses turning up, going in and cleaning out the supermarkets. We need to hear from you, and I would hope that store managers in those regional centres would also be forthcoming. If they've been subjected to that, we need to know about it, because that has to stop. The Minister's convinced all this hoarding started from that, and people were panicked and continue to panic today. We have enough food in Australia to service ourselves. Stop doing it.